Let's take a second to talk about the foundation of alleged political authority. Not the slogans, not the party labels, the actual claim being made. You're told that power comes from the consent of the governed, that somehow people grant certain individuals the right to rule them. But here's the part no one ever explains. Where did those rights come from in the first place? Because you and I, as individuals, we don't have the right to control our neighbors. We don't have the right to take their money because we think it should be used for something better. We don't have the right to cage them if they refuse to comply with rules we prefer. So how does combining millions of people who don't have those rights magically create a group that does? If no one in a crowd has the right to rob their neighbor, how does voting transform robbery into taxation? If no one in the crowd has the right to kidnap peaceful people, how does delegation transform kidnapping into law enforcement? If no one has the right to rule another human being, how does naming someone official suddenly grant them moral permission to rule? See, this is the part that gets skipped. You can't give away a right you've never had. You can't delegate a power you don't possess. You can't create moral authority out of thin air by calling it collective will. And yet, we're expected to believe that once every few years, by checking a box on a piece of paper, we grant strangers the right to control our lives, take our income, decide what we're allowed to do with our own bodies, and punish us if we don't comply. If consent were real, it'd be voluntary. It would be revocable. It would be individual. But you can't opt out. You can't withdraw it. You're told you consented simply by existing on a piece of land you were born onto. That's not consent, that's a story. And here's the uncomfortable question. If someone claimed authority over you without your permission, you'd call it domination. If a gang did it, you'd call it extortion. And if a corporation did it, you'd call that exploitation. But when a group calls itself government, we're trained to call it legitimacy. Why? Because we're taught a superstition. That authority is real, that power becomes moral when it wears a uniform, that coercion becomes virtue when it's labeled law. But no label can transform wrong into right, no ritual can convert force into morality, and no vote can turn domination into consent. If something is wrong when done by you, and wrong when done by me or your neighbor, it doesn't become right when done by someone you call a ruler. That belief isn't logic, that's faith. And once you see that, the spell begins to break.